Dale, I'd like you to say a few words. Can you firstly tell us about the sort of research you were doing and why you were doing it? It's a very important project that you're involved with. And then about the link between creativity and your science.
Like Kirali, I'm a practicing scientist. I'm a PhD student here at UTS, and I'm fortunate enough to work on what is a beautiful instrument over there behind you, is one of the photobioreactors. So we're using that instrument to help us, I guess, answer questions for the global energy challenge. So we're looking to use that instrument to generate a new renewable fuel, a renewable liquid fuel of that from what is in the green stuff in there that is microalgae. And I guess the work we're doing, it's understandably, it's going to impact everyone in this room. I'm sure you're all aware that we're eventually going to run out of fossil fuels, and we need another answer. Solar is one answer. However, we don't have this answer to a portable liquid fuel, essentially. So the reason I got involved in this science is because it comes back to the passion and the emotion that we share. And I'm concerned about where my kids, my grandkids, what situation we're going to leave them in. And I guess for me, to be able to do the research that I do, it's driven by passion and as much passion as it is interest. I mean, I'm very interested in how what I see on a day-to-day basis can actually influence how people behave in the future. And I guess since conversations with Lisa and the artists, it's given me an insight into scientists are creative people. I was one of the typical scientists that we hear. I chose the science, I didn't choose the technology or the arts, and I got told, you got to do this, you got to do that. And it only dawned on me when I started my PhD that we are actually creative. We have this question that we want to answer, and it's not as simple as following the recipe. And we come across all these different questions every day, and it's about what we understand from the literature and what we have in front of us of how we're going to answer these questions. And it's about using our creativity as scientists, as an individual, but also speaking to other scientists within my group and the wider university. We're able to make these steps forward in answering the questions that we pose. So, yeah.
Dale, I think you raised a really interesting point when you first mentioned the piece of equipment over there. I mean, we're used to thinking about artworks as being of a particular type, whether sculpture or a thing or something else, or art. But to look at that machine over there collecting data for you, it is a beautiful piece of work, isn't it? In the way it's designed, and then what it's meant to achieve and what it's meant to provide you.
Yeah, I guess one of the things when I first spoke to Lisa was she made me aware of the whole perception. This whole perception where I see that as a high-tech piece of equipment, as you rightly say. I've got all this ability to have all this essentially power and control the environment which I'm studying my organisms at. Whereas Lisa goes, wow, it looks like a spaceship. Like, it's a beautiful instrument, and the symbolism that it provides a wider community is something as initially as a scientist I wasn't particularly aware of, but through the conversations I've actually been able to understand it more and understand how I and the scientific community as a whole can actually communicate better with the wider world. So it's been very interesting.
Dale, can I also ask you to speak about the art in graphs? The beauty in graphs. You'll see on the screen behind the photobioreactor is a graph that's displaying data. And as scientists, we love graphs. You know, as many of us as scientists are visual people, we love being able to put data on graphs. And for me, they're beautiful pieces of work when you say, I spent all this time working on this and I can draw it. Can you talk about that graph and what it means to you?
Yeah, I guess you nailed it on the head. Really, we spend a lot of time just behind it, taking samples, getting numbers, and to be able to put it into a graph makes it visual for us. And essentially, we're looking for patterns, a bit like many people in this room. And I mean, that graph to me, it symbolizes that we're seeing a growth in our microalgae that we've got in there, and it's nice to be able to provide that visualization, to be able to easily explain it to someone else, to be able to say, okay, you can see on the bottom you got this, up the side you got this, and this is what we're looking for. So it mitigates a bit more communication between me, who sits behind that instrument a lot and just using it for science, and then people that walk past, and I can say, well, here we go, this is what it shows. So.
He's not only a great scientist, he's also a great communicator, isn't he? He's explained the purpose of that graph and what it means very clearly. Thanks, Dale.